Hey, my name is Mel. I'm with Tested, and I'm here today to show you my favorite things. You might know me from a couple of the projects I've worked with Adam, specifically the Mercury panel. All right, so I'm going to be walking you through, I guess, the first thing, which is the Opf Goggles. These goggles were made during the Cold War, essentially. They are designed by the USSR and specifically are used by infantrymen to protect themselves from nuclear flashbangs. I love these a lot. They're very comfortable. They do have this really neat feature of when you have a large intensity of UV and IR, they will automatically darken, which is a feature called photochromatic, or people say chameleon. There's not much information of them beyond that, but if anyone knows, please share that with me. I am very fascinated with it. It also comes often in a carrying case like such. You can find them on essentially most military surplus stores that are dedicated to Russian tech. I found these on eBay. I've also seen them on Etsy. They are perceivably advertised as extremely rare, but I've seen enough of them online where I believe it's fairly accessible if you just Google OPF goggles. All right, the next thing I want to share is the Ibm Model M Keyboard. It is, I think, my favorite keyboard of all time, especially when it comes to coding. This is considered by a lot of programmers to be the holy grail, essentially because it's extremely comfortable to type. There's the clickiness of the keyboards that is very unique to the Model M. And the reason behind this is because IBM has patented technology called buckling springs, which actually use real springs when you press down. And so there is a very unique sort of tactile feel when it comes to this keyboard. You can also find this on eBay, often through some sort of wholesale with old office supplies. It's also kind of a collector's item for a lot of people, so it's one of those, like, you can find them for vintage computer-esque things. Yeah, I love it. It is a boatload of joy. Very heavy. I wouldn't consider it a portable thing, and it potentially can be a bit loud and clackety for your neighbors, but yeah, if you can get away with it, use it. The next thing I want to share is this book drawn by Mobius. It is called La Faune de Mars, which essentially translates to the wildlife of Mars. And I particularly like this book because, one, it's very portable. It's something that you can easily put in a bag. Two, it's Mobius, and I am obsessed with his artwork. And it essentially contains a lot of ideations of what creatures would look like on Mars that he interprets. There's a lot of inspiration you can take from these type of creatures. It has the classic Mobius sort of curvature, almost like natural organisms that come out of like weirdness, honestly. And I would say Mobius has such a unique aesthetic that often you can't really find elsewhere. Most of this is in black and white, and it's in French. The reason why is there's actually very little books that have been translated and are accessible in America. But there are some colored pictures in the back, which has the classic Mobius color aesthetic, essentially. I found this particular book in my local comic book shop. You can probably find it online as well. I've done a Google search and they are available online, albeit it does range in terms of price because it is a collector's item. My best suggestion when it comes to Mobius art books is honestly checking out your local comic book shop. I periodically walk in and there's usually a little corner section that you can find, or you can ask the clerk and they're gonna be like, oh yeah, like we have like maybe 2 copies of blah. But if you can, check this out. So I have one more thing to show you. It unfortunately can't fit in this room, so we'll be going outside to check it out. Okay, yeah, so this is the baby I want to show you. It is called the Rad Runner, made by Rad Powered Bikes. I love this bike. This bike is an electric bike with a bunch of features, a bunch of add-ons. You can essentially customize the base. So you have the base like part of the bike. It's single speed. It can go about 20 miles per hour. And all these little things are accessories. So this is something that you can also put a basket on here. Some people have like the baby carrier. I like the passenger seat with the pegs because it adds a little cool factor. A lot of my friends love me picking them up on this thing. This is the center console part, which has a lot of space. So essentially you can put your phone here. There's a cup holder. I definitely recommend it's something sealed. I've tried it with lattes. It's a disaster. But yeah, this whole space I've put, I don't know, an obscene amount of stuff. I put food in here. I've put a 6-pack in here once, which I was shocked that I could fit it. Let's just say that. In the front, you can get an accessory for holding baskets. I love having space to carry things. This is definitely a workhorse style bike where I use it for groceries. And I got the largest capacity I could possibly get with the add-on. And so this is the large basket. And then I've just added motorcycle straps to make sure everything doesn't just fly out when I'm going on this bike. It's really hard for me to own something without modding it. So I've done a couple modifications that you're not normally gonna see on this bike. I've gotten rid of the stock light and have placed in a motorcycle light. And the reason behind this is when you're bombing hills in Santa Cruz at night where it's pitch black and there's no reflectors and you all have just trees surrounding you, 30 watts is significantly better at making you see compared to something like a little small bike light. And yeah, and then the other mods I've done, besides just adding a watch so I can see the time, is I've replaced the controller with a colored LCD screen and the motor controller as well from a third-party aftermarket company. They're called Bolton Bikes. It's pretty great. Essentially, you can do a lot more customization using something like this. You can fine-tune it to such a degree where you have the optimal amount of torque. And it removes certain features that I was not a big fan of, which is motor drag. And so that's pretty much all the things I wanted to share today. These are all my favorite things. I hope that you guys have a great rest of the year and New Year.